So I have a student on one of my prior two clips who asks, Mike, I've been using UWorld the wrong way throughout my prep. I only started reading the explanations recently and I have 500 questions remaining. That is true. I have talked about in my prior clips how I advise you read the explanations for all of the questions, even the ones you get correct, and even if you think it's a waste of time because you know the concepts really well. Let's say, e.g., you encounter yet another question on calcium, vitamin D that's so easy for you, and you think you don't need to read the explanation, just let your eyes see the words, okay? Spend at least 30 seconds on it. Just never skip explanations altogether. No one's going to be hovering over your shoulder. It's an honor system, okay? If you want to get the most out of the Q bank, you need to read the explanations. That's not synonymous, and this is an important caveat, it's not synonymous with reading the explanations so deeply and intensely that you're only going to be getting through 15 questions per day. You need to be getting through a minimum of 40 to 80 questions per day. This student goes on to ask, my exam's in 3 months, and knowing that I have 500 questions left and I hadn't read the explanations prior, will you recommend a second pass of UWorld? Okay, and she also says she's been scoring 40 to 50% per block and recently failed an NBME form. Look, I do not recommend you do a second pass of UWorld. It's never something I recommend. It's not that we have to be intransigent of the idea altogether. It's just in your case, and granted your scores of 40 to 50% per block, I would recommend going through the remaining 500 questions at 40 per day, and I want you doing untimed tutor random, okay? And let's say you've done them subject specific. I don't know how you've gone through the Q bank. I want you just doing the remainder in random, okay? Tutor mode, untimed, 40 per day. The lower your scores are, the fewer the questions we want you doing per day, okay? 40 to 80, but I'd say 40 in this case. Now, when you finish the 500 questions, because you're 3 months out right now, okay? You're going to have a significant amount of time remaining, probably about 2.5 months, right? So we are going to want you going through your incorrects from UWorld. That is acceptable. Not a second pass, but the incorrects, especially since you hadn't read the explanations well prior. And I want you doing those at 40 per day. Now, when you get to within 2 months, when you get to the 2-month out mark, I want you going through NBMEs 20 through 24. You said you sat in NBME and failed it. I don't know which one you sat. Maybe you sat an online one, 25 through 30 in that bunch. But I want you going through 20 through 24 offline. I want you screenshotting your incorrects into a Word document, saving as a PDF/PowerPoint. I want you memorizing those questions. Students will say, well, to what extent? Like, what do you mean memorize the questions? Literally memorize to the point where you can look at the unhighlighted, unanswered NBME questions and say, yep, that one's B, that one's A. Okay, I want you to know NBMEs 20 through 24 well. I want you to go through the free high-yield PDFs that are on my site. That's really important for you. So I would say when you get to the 2-month out mark, that's where you're going to start NBMEs 20 through 24, okay, during the day, as well as my PDFs. And then in the evenings, I want you doing UWorld, okay? 6 to 8 hours per day. From when you're 2 months out, 6 to 8 hours per day, going through NBMEs 20 through 24 and my PDFs prior to going back to 25 through 30. And the evenings UWorld. Right now, from 3 months out to 2 months out, you can spend your days, like actually the daytime, not just the evening, going through UWorld, okay? There's a lot to talk about, and that might create more questions than it's worth for some students, but not everyone's prep is going to be cookie cutter. You know the deal. I'm going to continue making more content. If you like my stuff, subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate your time. That's it.